Hi everyone, it's Jonathan here. Welcome to this month's Pulse. And of course, Pulse is a service that hopefully helps you analyze and identify new ways of thinking about things that are happening around us. And so I've spent this month looking into various different happenings, and there's some stuff that I'm going to cover that happened slightly earlier than this month as well, but there's some kind of salient points that I wanted to mention. So anyway, moving onwards, I'm going to start with the auto sector. So this month I've noticed a piece that actually was, it's actually from a week or two ago on Bloomberg about the Chinese solar highway that can recharge electric cars on the move. Now this is all part of the Made in China 2025 initiative that the government are running, and in fact I think it's a fascinating piece around mess finding. And what I call mess finding, for those that are new to Pulse, is the identification of something that needs to be fixed and then the leveraging of any assets to then fix it. And if you look deeper into what they're doing, deeper than even the Bloomberg article, what they were actually talking about is smart roads that can actually think. Smart roads that are actually evolving at the speed of not only AI, but also automated vehicles. If you look at the announcements by the Chinese government, that's their approach. So my take on this and my advice to you is, why not? Why not, when we already know the messes, and in vehicles it's the charging of it, why not actually construct a system that can address that? I've always been fascinated by gymnasiums that still pay for electricity bills, despite the fact that people are on running machines that are generating kinetic energy. Obviously, there's no point in actually paying electricity bills if you're actually generating electricity. So all China have done here is they've applied the obviousness and then leveraged it down. So that's my take on that piece. In education, I've been interested in the article in the Standard, which is around the kind of the point that I've been making for many years around the only way to beat robots is to back arts education, creativity in education. This article is, and I've been talking about this for 10, 12 years, but I love the fact that these articles are now starting to become more and more prevalent. You should read it if you're not just if you're interested in education, but also if you're interested in robotics, AI, automation of the workforce. This is absolutely critical reading. My advice to you, other than read this article, is that if you agree with what's in the article, how are you going to actually be part of making it happen? So it's great us observing something that we agree with, but what are we actually going to do about it? Next, in entertainment and media, I've got a piece from The Guardian you've got a link to in your email, which was, again, from this month. Well, actually, you're going to receive this probably in May, so it was in April 2018. And it's around how researchers have developed a device that hears your internal voice. Now, the device is called Alter Ego, and it's something that you wear around your face and your head, and it listens to your synaptic pathways, and it whispers in your ear words that you didn't say that you actually so essentially think. Now, one of the mentions in the article is of some research where they said that they have an average of 92% transcription accuracy in a 10-person trial with 15 minutes of customizing to each person. Now, I have a massive issue with that. I'm okay with the fact that it's qualitative rather than quantitative, i.e. it's about the quality side rather than the amount of people involved. But what I'm really amazed by is that it's fascinating that technology can listen to our thoughts, and there's everyone from Singularity University getting very interested and hot under the collar about that. But I genuinely believe what we need nowadays more than anything else is silence. I don't think we need to listen more to our thoughts. I think we need to listen less. I'm less about thought expansion network and more about thought exclusion network, to be totally honest with you. Anyway, on the financial services side, I'm always interested in the blockchain side of things. I have a modest hand in Money Catcher, which is the Australian fintech that's moving and shaking in the Antipodean landscape. And so this article on Medium by a guy called Kai is something that I find quite interesting. He says basically that decentralized and trustless crypto paradise are a medieval hellhole. He's a contrarian. He's marketing himself as someone who stands against the modern times, and he does a pretty good job about it, really, to be honest. If I was marketing myself as someone who believes that blockchain is nonsense, then I would go along the lines of what he's done, with some exceptions. I would research more and know more about what I was talking about. But nonetheless, he writes very, very well. He doesn't actually understand the difference between cryptocurrencies and blockchain, nor does he understand the difference between private and public blockchains. But nonetheless, despite the fact he evidently is fairly new to the subject and he's obviously marketing himself to it, it's a relatively interesting piece. My advice is this: if you read the comments in the piece, not his bit alone, but read the comments, you'll see that experts, people who actually know what they're talking about, then actually dissect every single line of what he's talking about and actually bring him to a place of understanding and honesty. And he makes quite a few edits to that extent. My advice is, don't let the dialogue in pieces that you read dictate your take on these things. It's up to you, not up to the author. In the fashion world, I'm interested in a Bloomberg article from the 27th of April around how the online body scanning, or the on-body scanning tech, is now moving and shaking. I love what they're doing with the Zozo suit. This is a system which can enable you to put on a suit that gives you an exact representation of your body measurements. I've often wondered how self-reporting would actually work with the world of measurements, because if you say, well, okay, my arm is this long, my leg is this long, my neck's this wide, that's one thing, but surely the way to do it is to actually have a suit that actually tells the system exactly that. So Zozo suit are rocking. My advice is this: look for the missing links in clever technology and understand what could be missed. In this case, it's sizing, and Zozo suit is addressing the sizing. Genius. But then address that. It's like mess finding, but it's mess finding inside the value chain in total, and Zozo suit, I think, are excellent like that. In food, there's a VentureBeat article around how the AI world is and the food world is merging. But we need to be really, really, really careful about the usage of the word AI. A lot of the examples that are used in this piece aren't actually artificial intelligence. They're algorithmic, and they're really clever algorithms, but it's a lot different than actually an intelligence that can start asking questions of itself, becoming more aware of itself, and then extrapolating insight from itself. Spreadsheet-based, if then that, functions are not necessarily artificial intelligence. So don't jump onto the bandwagon necessarily. In health, I'm interested in how Google has developed a way to predict the risk of a heart attack just by scanning your eye. This is awesome. I think it's an amazing piece of progress. But my advice is that we need to always look at the wider issues around this. For instance, there's 4 that I would like to raise to Google. 1, how would humans use this? 2, how would doctors use this? 3, who owns the data of this? 4, what happens to the data from this? Because whilst it's great that we have technology that can actually see or sense health risks, we have a larger risk, which is what happens next. Let's extend the entire story out. Let's extend the value chain out, rather than just creating something that looks fantastic or can do fantastic things. In other words, we need to search for more answers and or ask more questions. So on the retail side of things this month, I'm interested in the Draper's Online piece around how voice technology can transform retail. Now, you know what? Voice, i.e. what we do with Alexa or Siri or Google Assistant, I think voice is in need of some serious marketing in terms of retail, because you know what? I've seen so many articles about how voice can change retail, saying something like, Alexa, tell me what size I should buy a suit in. The truth is, well, actually, you know what? Let me not instruct you. Try it. Ask your assistant what size shirt you should buy. That's where we are right now in voice. So we have some fundamental issues that we need to fix. Yes, the technology can do it, but my advice to you is this. The tech at the moment isn't actually solving the issues that need to be solved in connectivity. We're not actually providing immensely new value. What we're doing is showing that things are possible rather than creating a solution or creating an immense new value. That's actually the thing that's going to do the marketing piece for voice in retail rather than these articles. No disrespect to the article. In terms of manufacturing and logistics this month, there's a great piece in Gizmodo around how the first 3D printed steel bridge looks like. It broke out of a mothership from space. I tell you, you've got to check this article out. It's awesome. It's a bridge in Amsterdam. I actually know the bridge pretty well. The 3D printed version of it is amazing. And what I'm aware of from articles like this and the progression of 3D printed manufacturing is that, you know what, we're actually intercepting creative arts with utility. And my question to you is, what would you build? What would you build in terms of town planning when art is not limited to what is physically possible? Now actually using the systems that we have is purely down to our imagination. So what beauty can we create? In terms of technology this month, there's a great piece in Forbes called China is Innovating Faster Than You Imagine. Now, I've been saying this since the inception of Pulse, so I'm probably boring a lot of the regular Pulse readers or watchers because this is no news. But my advice is 3 words: watch and learn. Watch and learn how and where and why China is innovating in the ways that it's faster than the rest of the world. My advice is invest your time and energy into researching and learning as much as you can. Become an absolute geek about what's happening down there and what it matters to the rest of the world. The words, but we're not in China, no longer are valid, sadly, because the comfort zone of us thinking, yeah, but we're in the Western world is no longer the case. Most of the Western world is now saturated with Chinese products and services, and that's no accident. And I find it still funny how we watch these TV programs where someone, for instance, from America may say, or UK may say, but we're the most powerful company or country in the world. And that's all changed. Let's just face that, smell the coffee and learn, watch and learn. And I mean learn, not just the watch part. Let's actually understand how we can innovate in a world of which China is innovating faster than you can possibly imagine. In terms of telco this month, I've had to really delve into my soul to find a reason to even show this. But there's an IBC article about how leading telcos have launched a cybersecurity alliance. My reaction is, wow, they're late, 2018. Let's all wake up to cybersecurity. I mean, truthfully, this is something that they should have handled 15 years ago. I'd have forgiven 10 years ago, largely because people like me spoke to them about this 10 years ago. This is a situation now where the telcos aren't handling enough of the connectivity to even have a valid play in the cybersecurity space as much as another party should? Or is this just actually a way of trying to add more value to the value chain when there are dumb pipes? Truthfully, my advice is this: be early to what you already know is going to happen. If you already know something is going to happen in your industry, move. Don't wait for your competitors to move. A lot of the telcos, some of which are actually in this article, said to me around the time of discussing cybersecurity, if we do something, then our competitors will notice it and we'll lose our competitive advantage. That's not an excuse. So the declining profits that are happening in the telco landscape are by the design of the telco landscape. In terms of travel, I think that the SpaceX and Tesla master plan, part 1 by Gavin Sheridan in Medium, is brilliant. He's, to be honest, he's evidently inspired by Cometa. Cometa are a company that are, actually he even quotes Cometa in the piece and uses some of the slides from their presentation. His thesis is that Elon Musk and his mission is to basically build a global ISP, an internet service provider that requires 12,000 satellites and is kind of an X-satellite broadband network. And he reckons that Musk will announce the X network. So basically, his theory is that Musk is building a global interplanetary infrastructure. It's a fascinating read. You have to read it. Is Gavin right in this piece? I don't know. How do I know? There are some bits that he says that are legendary and brilliant. His Dublin charm is, especially at the end where he basically says, if I'm right, then Elon owes me a pint of Guinness. It's great. Have a read of it. It's fantastic. But what I applaud the most is the expansion of thought. And as I leave you this month in this month's Pulse, I would like to, again, congratulate you for even wanting to expand your thought in some way. I don't know how long this service Pulse will last for, or how long Thought Expansion Network lasts for. At the end of the day, everything is transitory. And so let's enjoy the moments that we can expand our thinking while we can. And thank you for watching this month's Pulse to that extent. Regardless of whether I'm involved in your thought expansion or whether you do this on your own or with other people, the power of your critical thought, the power of the sovereignty of your intellect is one of your most basic human rights, I believe, and is something that you have absolute power over right now. The greatest freedom, in my belief, is the freedom inside your mind to believe in what you believe, to think in what you think, and thereby determine your destiny. So I really, truly appreciate your investment in your expansion of thought, and who knows when I'll see you again, and I really genuinely thank you. Cheers, guys. Bye.